Welcome to the show. Big things happening in tech. Let's get into it. We're kicking off with programmatic advertising, how automation is reshaping display advertising. Drop your thoughts in the chat. We're reading everything live. So I was talking to a marketing director at a major brand recently, and they told me that they've seen a 30% increase in ad efficiency since switching to programmatic advertising, which is pretty wild. They were able to target specific demographics and behaviors with way more precision than traditional methods, which is a big deal when you're spending millions on ad campaigns. For example, they were able to target people who had abandoned their shopping cart and saw a significant bump in conversions as a result. This kind of stuff is reshaping the entire display advertising landscape, and it's pretty fascinating to see it play out.
That's a pretty impressive stat. But I've got to ask, what's the catch here? Because 30% is a huge increase in efficiency. I'm wondering if this is just a matter of targeting getting better, or if there's something more at play. What do you all think? Anyone in chat dealt with programmatic advertising and seen similar results? Or are there some potential downsides we're not considering?
I think the catch, Sam, is that people are looking at this 30% increase and assuming it's all about the targeting. But what's really going on is that programmatic advertising is allowing brands to optimize their ad spend in real time, which is a total game changer. I mean, we're talking about being able to adjust your ad budget and targeting on the fly based on actual performance data, which is just not possible with traditional methods. According to a study I read, about 70% of marketers say that programmatic advertising has allowed them to reduce waste and improve their overall return on ad spend. So it's not just about the targeting, it's about the efficiency of the entire system.
I see what you're saying, Alex, that it's not just about the targeting, but about the real-time optimization of ad spend. And that's a fair point. However, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how this 30% increase in efficiency is being measured. Is it based on actual conversions or just click-through rates? And what about the potential for over-reliance on automation? Are we losing some of the nuance and human judgment that traditional advertising methods provide?
Okay, let's flip it around. If you've got something burning to ask, now's your shot. Hit the ask button and we'll answer live. So I think you're right to question how that 30% increase is being measured, Sam. And it's definitely not just about click-through rates. It's about actual conversions and return on ad spend. According to the marketing director I spoke to, they're using a combination of metrics, including conversion rates, cost per acquisition, and ad spend to gauge the effectiveness of their programmatic ad campaigns. What do you all think? Are there any potential pitfalls to relying too heavily on automation in advertising? Or are the benefits outweighing the drawbacks? Anyone in chat have some insights on this?
So, Alex, you're saying that this marketing director is using a combination of metrics to gauge the effectiveness of their programmatic ad campaigns, which sounds good, but I'm still wondering about the potential for overall automation. I mean, what happens when the algorithms start making decisions that don't quite align with the brand's overall strategy or values? Are there any checks and balances in place to prevent that? It's one thing to optimize ad spend in real time, but it's another thing entirely to ensure that those optimizations are actually driving the right kinds of conversions. Let's see if anyone in chat has any thoughts on this. Maybe we've got some folks with experience in programmatic advertising who can weigh in.
I think that's a valid concern, Sam, about the potential for over-reliance on automation. But the reality is that most programmatic advertising systems are designed to be highly customizable and flexible. So brands can set parameters and guidelines that align with their. For example, a study by eMarketer found that about 60% of marketers are using programmatic advertising to reach specific audience segments, while also ensuring that their ads are being served in brand-safe environments. What do you all think? Anyone in chat have experience with implementing programmatic advertising systems and can speak to how they've handled these kinds of challenges? Maybe we've got some insights from the audience that can help shed some light on this.
So, I'm still a bit skeptical about how customizable these systems really are. I mean, we've all seen examples of algorithms gone wrong, where a brand's ad ends up being displayed on a website that's completely at odds with their values. I'd love to hear from someone who's actually implemented one of these systems and can speak to how they've handled those kinds of situations. It's one thing to say that the systems are customizable, but it's another thing entirely to actually make that work in practice. And I think that's where the rubber really meets the road. Can we get some real world examples of how this is playing out? Maybe from someone in our audience who's worked with programmatic advertising.
We want to hear what's on your mind. Ask us anything in the Ask the Host panel below, and we'll tackle it right now. All right, we've gone through our list. What do you all want to talk about? Drop your questions and topics in chat. I'd love to hear from someone who's been on the ground floor with programmatic advertising. Maybe they can share some war stories about how they've navigated the challenges Sam's been raising. Let's see if we've got any folks in chat who can shed some light on this and take the conversation in a new direction.
I'm still not convinced that these systems are as foolproof as you're making them out to be, Alex. I mean, we've seen time and time again how algorithms can go awry and end up causing more problems than they solve. I'd love to hear from someone in the chat who's actually worked with programmatic advertising and can share some real world examples of how they've handled the kinds of challenges we're discussing. Maybe someone like that can give us a more nuanced view of how these systems are working in practice.
So, Sam, you're still skeptical about the potential for programmatic advertising to really deliver on its promises. And I get that, but I'm curious, what specifically would it take for you to feel like these systems are reliable and effective? Is it a matter of seeing more data or hearing from more marketers who have successfully implemented these systems? You're always talking about the potential for algorithms to go wrong. But what about the 70% of marketers who say that programmatic advertising has improved their return on ad spend? Don't you think that's worth considering?
You know, I think it's great that 70% of marketers are seeing an improvement in their return on ad spend, but I would like to see more concrete examples of how that's playing out in real world scenarios. For instance, I'd love to hear from someone who's used programmatic advertising to reach a specific audience segment and seen tangible results. Let's say, for example, a company like Procter and Gamble, which has a huge portfolio of brands and a complex advertising strategy. How are they using programmatic advertising to optimize their ad spend and ensure that their ads are... That kind of specificity would really help me understand how these systems are working in practice.
All right, we've been going at it. Now it's your turn. Drop your question in the Ask the Hosts panel below. We're reading live and we'll dig into the best ones right now. You know, Sam, that's a great example with Procter and Gamble, and I think it's exactly the kind of real-world scenario that could help illustrate the potential benefits and challenges of programmatic advertising. If anyone in chat dealt with implementing programmatic advertising for a large brand like P&G, I'd love to hear about your experiences and how you've navigated the complexities of optimizing ad spend while ensuring brand safety. What do you all think? Are there any success stories out there that can help put Sam's mind at ease about the reliability of these systems? Let's hear from you. Maybe we can get some specific